Son, Filipino. Oh, Filipino. Oh, what is shaking, y'all? It is episode 66. That's right, 66. The Golden Mike Live. We got our boy, my Filipino brother, Alonto Mangandog. Did I do it? Mangandog.
It's like Maganda, but Magandog. You know,
Now
like beautiful is
now for
what
those
it
of you
means.
who
Yeah.
don't know, Maganda means beautiful. Beautiful. Right, Jen Eden? Right, Jen? It's good to see you. Marc Cordone coming back. I wanted to give a quick shout out before we move forward. Tamara Arnold was supposed to sit in for me. It didn't go down last week. We're going to have her back. But Alonto, we're going to keep moving forward today. And this is the thing. My brother Alonto, first generation from the Philippine Islands, who is obsessed with setting people free, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial. We'll talk about freedom in a second, right? Also, at the same time, our boy has served in the United States military. So there's a lot for us to be grateful with what you have done in the past, what you are doing now, and what you are about to do, and what we are about to co-create together, Alonto. Alonto is here to do one thing, man. For those of you who were tuning in an hour ago or watching the replay and you didn't know where we were, we're here now, and we're here to talk about this one thing. This is the one thing that will make you unstoppable. Unstoppable. So, before Alonto talks about that, if you haven't met me before, my name is Marc Cordone. I'm the founder of the Make Money Coaching Program. And also at the same time, more importantly, I'm a positive psychology coach. What does that mean? Well, it means two things. The first thing is this. How happy are you feeling today? Simple. The second thing is, how much are you living in your life's purpose today? So, Alonto, given those two questions, how happy are you? And how much are you living in your life's purpose? How would you answer that question, brother?
Dude, I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling good, and I'm on point with what I'm supposed to be doing in this world, brother. Like that great quote said, the meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away.
Ooh.
And I truly feel that that's been the path that I've been on for the past 5 years, and it's only getting better every single day, brother.
So I want to talk about what got you on that path in a second, but for those of you who are watching live on the replay right now, if you're feeling good and you're living in full fulfillment today, Alonto, I want you to raise up your hand with me. And I want you to make some heart. I want you to make some heart. I want you to give us some hearts, y'all. Give us some hearts. Show Alonto and I some love. Give us some hearts. Let us know that you're living in full fulfillment. Now, here's the other thing, y'all. For those of you who think that, and a lot of people do, think that positive psychology and this happiness work is a lot of mumbo jumbo. That's all Taco Tuesday every day, or it's always happy and you never are sad. No, man. Positive psychology is about the ups and the downs and the all arounds of life. So if you woke up and you were like, you know what? I felt all right yesterday. I felt like I was a 10 and I'm not feeling so good today, man. I'm not feeling so happy. I don't know why. That's cool. That's cool. The other thing is you could be living in your full purpose and then all of a sudden you're asking yourself, you know what? Like what used to serve me and make me happy yesterday, I don't feel free anymore. I feel like it's becoming sort of chaining. It's chaining me in. That's all right. That's a part of your life's journey. Your heart beats like Alonto and mine. Just give us some thumbs up and let us know that you are living life, because that's part of your hero's journey, people. All right? So this is the final thing. I've been waiting to do this with you, Alonto, because I couldn't talk to you when I was in New York. Met this cat in New York and I sounded like Yoda. Now, this is the thing. Wherever you're at right now, whether it's happy, sad, up, down, all around, if you're feeling hopeful about where you're going to be tomorrow, regardless if you're feeling at a 10 and you're just hopeful that tomorrow's going to be an 11, If you're optimistic, whether you're at a 1 and you know that it's going to be at a 7, there's another button down there, and I want you to hit it with us. Alonto, I want you to give us a big old wow face. Alonto, give us a big old wow face. Boom. Now, Alonto, we got to get into this stuff, man. I really want to hear about this one thing that can truly make us unstoppable. I want to hear about this one thing, but before we get into all of that, I want to know, man, what's your story, dude?
So, and thank you for that beautiful introduction, brother. And uh, it's really been an unbelievable journey for me, being a first generation immigrant to literally sharing a basement with my older brother, older sister, younger sister, and my mom, bro. Like we were sharing a basement in my aunt's house when we first came to the Philippines, or when we first came to the U.S. from the Philippines, and to go from that when I was 12 to like where I'm at now, like I'm truly grateful for that journey and for the opportunity that I've been given when it comes to the things I'm able to do in my life today. Um, Now, a beautiful family, two boys, a little girl that just came
Yeah,
to us a
congratulations
couple
on
weeks
that.
ago,
Yeah.
and living the life, man. Like was able to serve in the military, and that experience taught me like the whole aspect of fighting for freedom and that ideology and the entire concept. And I love how you started this show about looking at your life and treating like the ups and downs. So we have a philosophy when it comes to our work, and it's all about rhythm and flow, right? Like, and we're artists, we're dancers in the things that we love to do, like our hobby, and that's how we look at life. Is that when you're up, man, like enjoy that, celebrate that. Like when you're down, like it's okay because it takes you being down, it takes you like in your darkness to see the light, right? Because without the darkness, without context, then there's really no enjoyment of the thing that you're trying to put out there, the ebbs and flow of life, the cycles of life.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. I want to go more into your story in a little bit, but like, um, are, I think what I'm hearing you say, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, is but with the idea of rhythm and flow, do you think that we can have things like pure happiness without the other side experiencing it?
So I love that question, and I'm gonna give you an analogy with regard to that. And the short answer to that is that you can't have happiness without the suffering, right? And that's the pure observation of what I've seen. And that's not like some theory that I come up with, but it's just looking at the things that uh, bring you happiness. And let's take for example uh, uh, this like analogy, right? So imagine that at one point you're starving, right? You haven't eaten in days, and I give you a plate of a steak dinner, like with mashed potatoes and gravy, like rare, like the Kobe beef, right? And the wagyu or whatever, however you say that.
Be careful,
And
bro. I haven't had lunch yet.
I
Be careful,
and
man.
I
Sweat.
gave it to you, and I gave it to you, right? So you were hungry, you were starving, and now that steak dinner is gonna give you a sense of fulfillment, a sense of satiation of the hunger that you felt. So that took care of it. But say that I give you another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. Eventually, that
Good.
sense of goodness and like
Yep.
fulfillment is going to turn into pain and suffering because there's no context, there's no hunger to go about anymore. you're full. You're good to go. So you don't need another steak dinner. It's that process of utilizing what you've been given to now find the next cycle, the next process that you have to go through.
Yeah, and it sounds like if you just go to straight economics, right? It's like the law of diminishing return, right? Like so you can come in super hungry, but every steak, every meal that you're fed, if you're not coming in with that same amount of hunger, it's just gonna diminish. So like I love the fact that you can apply that to philosophy. I want to throw this out there to you, Alonto. I don't know if you can see the screen right now, but you got Allison Prophet coming in saying, "You're making me hungry. You're making me hungry, Alonto."
Hey, hunger is it's probably one of the main like main things when it comes to success is that when you have hunger, everything else will fall into place. Everything
Mm.
else will be able to be had because of where we're at when it comes to technology, when it comes to knowledge. Everything is out there. Everything is available to us when it comes to the level of success that you want. It's just a matter of asking the question, are you hungry enough to get there? Are you
Oh,
hungry enough to go find the thing that you want to eat?
oh, oh! You got Christina Calabria saying, "Preach, brother, preach, brother." Our sister Jen Edens coming back and giving us the thumbs up. So you got some people. We got some people up in here, Alonto. So I want to go back to your story now. I want to go back to talking about what made you hungry. You came to the United States. You were living with your you were living in a basement with multiple family members, and now you're talking about freedom. We just talked about this. Your business is thriving right now. And you can step away from it, and it continues to thrive. Even when your little girl was born. So like, how did you move from that state, from where you were to where you are?
So from the very beginning, I've always had a certain view of life that life is happening for me instead of life is happening against me. Right? So ever since I was a little kid, like I've always believed that like I was meant for something great, that I was blessed in a sense. So everything that uh, really happened, like even like the living in the basement with multiple family members, like under my aunt's roof, like that to me was a blessing because it gave me the hunger to
Mm.
strive for more. Because I saw like the situation of say like my cousins, for example, like they were given everything, right? They were given everything that I like looked at. It was like, man, why are they getting that and I'm not, right? And that hunger gave me a sense of like motivation to strive and to do better, to make myself better. And that was the
Now,
process that I went through education, through serving in the military, to traveling, and now into the entrepreneurship world that I'm here with my wife, like doing this journey with together.
so was there ever a point when you that value or that sort of idea of life is happening for me was something that you ever questioned? Was there ever a point where you're like, yeah, I understand that life is happening for me, but fuck, man, like, cut me a break already.
Yeah. So this is probably one of the most like the hardest part, like or the hardest journey in my life was when we first came to the U.S. And I grew up like with my dad primarily like traveling abroad, working abroad, and I was primarily raised by almost like a single mom,
Mm.
right? And my father figure growing up was my uncle, which is like my neighbor in the Philippines. And he was like the father figure for me when I was growing up. And uh, it was such a horrific event that happened. Was a couple of months into the U.S. My So we immigrated to Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Freaking cold as shit. Like freaking. It was March. It was like March. Like,
But
and
there's
it was
like
like
mad Filipinos in like.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but like we immigrated there, and then my uncle immigrated to uh, L.A. in California, and a couple months into like the being in the U.S., actually got a job at a gas station, and within like a couple weeks, like the type of person that he is, like he always tried to do like the right thing, and uh, one instance, a guy tried to rob the convenience store, and my uncle stopped him from doing that. And what's crazy was that the guy who was stopped, like he got away, and then stalked my uncle until he got off, went home, and he shot him in the back, shot him point blank and killed him. And when this happened, I started to ask, is like, why does this happen to someone that's been so like upright, that's tried to do good, and why do like bad things happen to such a great person like my uncle? And I started to question that, and I still ask that question, right? But I could have gone the other way, right? I could have gone the the way of life is happening against me, or life is always putting me down. And that's a choice as human beings that we have, is that you can either look at like the optimistic side or the pessimistic side.
Hmm.
And I love like what you stand for, is that like when when you talk about like being a professor of happiness and being a professor of like this positive psychology, right? You have a choice. You can look at either like the positive things or the negative of things, right? Take like something that's intangible or it doesn't have like any meaning to it, like a brick. You can use a brick to kill someone, or you can use a brick to build a house to keep someone warm for the winter.
Right. Right. It's all about how you want to utilize that, right? I feel like I'm talking about Star Wars with you all of a sudden, man. But like, no, y'all know where I'd go with that. Ramses, double R. It's good to see you, brother. Ramses is seeing how you're bringing up contrast as the key to success. Being able to see the light and the shadow of things, right? So Alonto, super excited that you're bringing that up. Um, what got you to get into the entrepreneurial spirit and move that forward?
So I don't know if I was like born with it, but like I distinctly remember when I was a kid, right? And my grandma and grandpa were from the US. So every single like month or so, I would get like a balikbayan box of all the like crazy candies from the US. And I wasn't like the biggest fan of like those candies or bubble gums, right? But all the kids in my class were like crazy about them. And that sparked like an entrepreneurship in me. Like I started selling and slanging that stuff.
Were you popping off on the? You're selling the bubble gum for pesos, bro. You're selling the bubble gum for pesos, man.
I was selling that stuff, and
Did your Lolo
I
and Lola know what you were doing, son?
it was like I was getting inventory for free, and I was like making profit. It was all profit, bro. And and because there was like a chocolate that it was like my favorite growing up. They were called Curly Tops. I don't know if you've ever seen these things. It's like a Filipino chocolate, and I wanted that instead of all the American stuff. So like I started slanging the American stuff, and I could get top dollar, top pesos for those. So I was an entrepreneur like at the age of like 7 or 8. Like
Now,
I
what were we slinging? Like, what were you talking about here? Like, are we talking about like Snickers bars and stuff like that?
like Snickers, like bubble gum, like the American like an American brand like chocolates, right? So it was like top dollar for that stuff.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! So you, so by the way, Allison's talking about love in the brick analogy. Ramsey's coming back. Love everybody's loving the brick analogy while you're talking about slinging out your candies when you were younger. So you had it when you were young that you could move pesos around, right? You could move
Yeah.
pesos around. You could make things happen. If there's something that you didn't want, you saw it as having value for other people, right? So what did this mean in terms of you moving forward and now sort of talking about this idea of freedom because you fought for it before, now you're moving into the entrepreneurial space. um, you've slung candies around, and now you're talking about freedom. What does that look like nowadays in terms of an entrepreneur who's talking about freedom, man?
So I'm going to share like another quote with you, and that's and it talks about like a soldier, right? So I became a soldier so that my son could be a merchant, so that his son can be an artist, right? And that's the path that I feel like I've kind of gone through is like I served in the military. I became a soldier to fight for an ideology of freedom, right? And going into the entrepreneur world, I became a merchant so that this ideology can sustain itself. Because of what I want for my children and for me also is to do the thing that I love to do, like my art. Because the like you probably got this growing up, like you can't make money doing what you love, right? Like you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer, you have to be a nurse, you have to like go get this like job, right? As
Too
a
close to
Filipino,
home,
like
Alonto. Too close to
like as it's like you need to be a nurse, right? Like you need to be a nurse, like you need to be engineer, like you need to find something that pays.
yeah.
And that's what I want for myself, and that's what I want for my children, and that's what I want for the people around me is to find a way to do the thing that they love to do. And that to me is what freedom is all about, is to do what you want, when you want, as much as you want. And
Okay.
the only way to do that is entrepreneurship. Like you can't do that any other way.
Okay. So let's talk about this, man. I thought that was brilliant, man. I became a soldier to become a merchant to become an artist. I had to write it down, dude. Then I had to take a minute and catch my breath before I was like, dude, are you telling me to become a doctor again? um, as the last Filipino I need telling me to become a doctor. Let's talk about the skill. Let's talk about the skill that'll make you unstoppable.
So this is probably one of the most powerful skills that like if you've never like heard about it, you need to master it. You need to practice it like Bruce Lee always says, like don't be afraid of the person that's practiced 10,000 kicks once. Be afraid of the person that's practiced one kick 10,000 times. And this skill is called the art of receiving. And when it comes to like the foundation or the paradigm, right, that people have, a lot of it is based on criticism. A lot of it is based on nitpicking the things that are lacking within the single individual, right? It's always like what's wrong instead of identifying what's right. And when it comes to this skill, most people are out of practice or unfamiliar with it, right? So let's take, for example, with you, Mark. When I say to you, like, bro, like, man, again, when I first met you in New York, I was like, man, your freaking energy like is off the charts. Like you're the life of the party, and like you draw people in. and that's such an amazing thing to bring to the table when it comes to being part of a community, being part of a collective, a group. So when I said that to you, how did you normally respond? You
How do
remember?
probably with like deflecting or
See that shit, even for you, that happened.
yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think it would be for a normal person? And that's been like the experience that we've had, like teaching like tons of workshops all around the country, all around the world. That most people are unfamiliar or uncomfortable with receiving those things that like people see in us, like the greatness that they see in us, or the gift or the talent that they see in us. And what that is doing is that when you're deflecting, when you're not receiving that, you're actually building or destroying the foundation that you're trying to build
Damn,
of like what you want to do or what you want to be.
that is so true. Now, why is it that so many people? It almost seems intuitive to receive, and it almost seems that when we wake up in the morning, we want to receive. Why is it that so many people are not practicing this?
It's just a matter of being out of practice, being unfamiliar with the practice. So right, it's like if you look at all of history, like the whole like positive psychology isn't like the natural state of our culture or the natural state of man. Like the natural state is to criticize, to nitpick, to freaking put down, right? To bring down the person that you can, so that you can feel better about yourself.
Mm,
It's like a high, right? It's like a drug
mm,
that people are addicted to.
mm.
Because the other way around, the whole like encouragement, the building up, is actually more work than the other way. So it's just what we've learned, what we practiced growing up. Like our parents did it, our grandparents did it, so on and so forth. So that's all we know.
Oh
And
man,
as
and it's so true too because I mean it becomes so ingrained in your thinking, man. Like when somebody does sometimes pass you off a compliment, right? When not practicing the art of receiving, you can oftentimes be like, yo, are you like making fun of me right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you might have the exact opposite reaction of what the person is trying to let you know. You know, they're trying to let you know that you're great, and you're like, dude, chill. Does that make any sense, Alonto? And for those of you watching, have you ever had that kind of reaction where someone is trying to send you a message and you're just not picking up what they're throwing down? You know,
Yeah,
so
and it's like that whole being fake. Like you feel like you're like this like fake in this like world of freaking big shots, right? It's like the the whole aspect of being found out is like, oh man, these people are gonna find out who I truly am. But who you truly are is the greatness,
mm,
right? So
mm.
now I'm gonna give you like a little exercise to now familiarize yourself with this art, right? And I'm gonna demonstrate it with you uh, by you kind of identifying what you were sharing with me before the live started of what you thought of me, like what I brought to the table. So you
Yo,
can mention that. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, I think uh, I think a couple things that we talked about with the live or before we jumped on, you know, and by the way, Ramses is like imposter syndrome, the
Yep.
fake ass thing, you know. So and you're just talking about the observations I had about you and stuff. Well, I think the one of the first things was congratulating you on your family and congratulating you on the way that y'all continue to do amazing webinars and grow your business. in in ways where it's counterintuitive to normal culture, where people think that you've got to hit your foot on the accelerator. Um, uh, I I thanked you and your wife when I was up in New York because you know, I had no voice and I was talking like Yoda, and y'all were doing everything you could to get all that stuff out of my throat. Um, and also at the same time, like it's just good to reconnect with you, man. And this is what my voice sounds like, Alonto. To have that conversation with you again, it's good. It's good to see you, man. Yeah.
So now, instead of like deflecting or instead of kind of like making fun of that uh, comment, I'm going to actually receive it. And this is like a way that I teach people or coach people to do it. And that's thank you, Mark. That truly means a lot to me, especially coming from someone like you with the work that you do and the things that you're doing. That truly means a lot to me, bro.
Okay. Thank you, Alonto.
So,
That
so do
means a
you
lot to
feel,
me. We could go in an
did
endless
you,
loop.
yeah, so did you feel how that reciprocated?
Dang, that felt good, man. Yeah.
So it's a matter of now building those things that make you feel good to build that confidence, to build that foundation so that you attract the things that you want in your life instead of the things that you don't want in your life.
So let me ask you this. Let's say someone is let's say what someone is saying something to you and you don't feel it. You don't feel it. Does that make any sense? Like,
So it all depends on kind of the practice aspect, right? Because at the very beginning, anything will feel unfamiliar, and I want to to have people consider language, for example, because you can either say, "Man, bro, like I don't feel it; it feels uncomfortable," right? I want you to change the language to "I'm unfamiliar with it." Because comfort you can't do anything about. Familiarity you can. You can practice that shit. You can iterate that process so that it becomes familiar.
that is huge. Familiarity versus comfort. That's a huge one. Ramses, um, yeah, it's just saying, wow, powerful technique. Christina, damn, y'all making me cry. That's the way Filipino brothers do it.
That's the only way we roll.
That's the only way we roll. So let's practice. How about we practice this some more? And how about we practice this with not only for me and stuff like that, but for everybody who's watching live and watching the replay, because that really came back. That hit me like a ton of bricks because I don't even remember what you said. I remember how I felt right now when you responded. Oh, Alonto, is you're giving me a big old this. So when it comes to practice, like, can we? Is there a way to slow it down? Take us through this again?
So first and foremost, like the whole idea of like I see you. So
Mm.
like saying thank you, that truly means a lot to me, especially coming from someone like you. Right? And you can't be like fake about that. Like you have to truly mean that when you say it. And I truly mean that when I say it because it's it's you. Like I see you. And for you to say that about me, like that means freaking like the skies because like the work that you're doing and to see that in me, and that's the role of people that have been put in leadership positions, the people that have been put in say like you have status or say you have like fame. Fame is not for you. Fame is for people that are following in your footsteps and for them to be brought up by you, right? So that if they don't believe it in themselves at the moment, someone above them can believe in them so that they can catch up. And if you can behave that way, now you can build that foundation, right? And it's just a process of iteration. It's just as simple as saying thank you. That truly means a lot to me. especially coming from you.
It seems so simple, but like it is. Like I have to tell you, I just want you to keep repeating it right now. That's the only reason I wanted you to slow down, man. I was like, I want to hear Alonto say it again, man, because it felt good, man. It felt like this. Oh man, like it feels like this bath that I'm taking right now, man. And you can laugh as much as you want, Christina. Like it's true. Like that authenticity is like palpable, man. Angelina, thanks for the thumbs up. I'm hoping that this is I'm hoping that this is something that when you receive it, you feel it, and also this is something that's so simple that you can use like right now. You can use right now.
Yeah, and imagine like what your friendships or like what your relationships would look like if this was a daily practice that you had, right? So instead of like meeting someone over coffee and you start bitching or you start dumping like your shit on them, like you start to appreciate what they bring to the relationship, right? It's like, hey, thank you for meeting with me. Like I truly appreciate your time. I know you're busy. You have kids. You have like this life all about you, but you decided to spend this like 30 minutes or however much time with me just talking. I appreciate that.
I, and I do. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Alonto. I appreciate that especially because we spent so much time trying to get our technology to work, and we were like sitting there behind the scenes, being like, "Yeah, the name of our course today is called the one thing that's going to make you unstoppable," and we can't even get Be Live to work right now.
They're trying to stop us, but we can't be stopped, right?
Be Live is stopping the unstoppable. Um, so let's talk about some of the dramatic changes that you've seen in people just from doing that. Um, because I'm feeling it, but that becomes a practice that I see for coaches, for entrepreneurs, for in relationships. Like, is this what you're talking about when you're talking about the beginning of freedom?
Yep. Because really it's a shift when you do this practice. And I love like the Tony Robbins quote is that trade your expectations for appreciation and you'll be set free.
Mm.
And when you go into this practice of appreciation, of gratitude, right? When it comes to your relationships, everything else will fall into place. Everything else will fall by the wayside when it comes to the expectations that you would have on that person. And you just appreciate them for who they are and what they're all about, their gifts and their talents.
Mm. Now, Alonso, I know that you had this kind of mindset ever since you were a little one in the Philippines slinging around candies. Yet also at the same time, you're coming in as an expert that can teach us very dense concepts in a very short amount of time. Where was it that you picked up things like the art of receiving?
Again, it's applying it to myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Like so like learning these things. So uh there's nothing new under the sun, right? There's like no new knowledge. Like everything has been said or done.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of applying it or saying it in a certain way that it's actually received. So these things that I've learned, I actually applied to myself,
Mm.
and I became a scientist, like a true scientist, and I applied it, and I saw it work for me. And when I started sharing it with people, it started to work for them, right? So like you get to a point where like shit, this works, right? Like it's no longer some like woo woo
Yeah.
like theory. It's applied, like information applied as wisdom.
Yeah.
And when I gained that wisdom, I was able to not only utilize it for myself, but also now utilize it to teach others in doing the same thing.
So let's talk about this. When it comes to a lot of things, when it comes to What do you come from? Eastern philosophy, Western? You're looking at modern positive psychology, or you're looking at old school philosophies. A lot of people are talking about mastery, life as mastery. When you're talking about the art of receiving, what does it mean to be in the practice of mastery of the art of receiving? What does it look like to go to like a pro level?
I knew you were gonna ask that, and I'm ready for that request, right? So the level of mastery, or the level that I shared with you at the very beginning, that's kind of like beginner, like 101 receiving,
Oh, oh
right?
snap! Oh snap!
And I'm gonna share with you. So there's no like beginner, intermediate. It automatically jumps from beginner receiving to like pro level receiving. And I know that you've received this, or you've attained this like level of pro when you can do this with like a straight face. And uh, and again, demonstration is the key to learning, right? So again, I'm gonna have you mention something else about me that you appreciate, that you see.
Um, I mean, I think Alonto, when you gave me the feedback today on just like how we are doing webinars and stuff like that, and you just took the time. I mean, I know that we were trying to get our phones, but like you took the time to like just slow down and be like, yeah, man, webinars are different than Be Live. That was like such a real moment, and it also inspired me to just be like, I'm very vulnerable right now. Like I don't want to do a Be Live. I just want to hide from the camera, but I also know that I want to do this Be Live. It just feels right. You're the right person to do it with right now, and I also want to do the webinar tomorrow. And like I appreciate that about you.
So now I'm gonna share with you how to receive that like a pro, and I'm gonna be like, Mark, again, thank you. That means a lot. It feels amazing. Please tell me more. And when you can do that with a straight
Wow.
face, because I'm gonna ask you a question, like, the things that you're telling me, are they true?
Hell yeah, they're true.
And if you were hearing that about yourself, would it make you feel good?
Heck yeah.
So it's true and it makes you feel good. Why don't you do it more often? Why
I think
wouldn't you want more of it?
okay, this is the first thing that I can see. It's kind of like a humble brag type of thing. It's like, oh no, 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 tell me more, but no, 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 but no, 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 like it's it's almost selfish or egotistical to receive at that level, right? I want to hear
So
more.
there's a difference between like the ego and confidence, right? And what you're trying to do is build up that foundation so that you won't need to hear that anymore, right? That it becomes such a part of you, it becomes such a like your being, that you don't need the affirmation anymore from other people.
Mm,
But the fact of the matter is, people need that affirmation. People need that building of the foundation to actually truly believe that about themselves.
mm.
And that's what I'm saying. That it's more of a lack that people have about themselves when it comes to thinking of them in that greatness, that confidence, than the other side.
No, oh, so this brings me to another question then. It brings me to another question. So once you get to a certain level of that confidence, right? Is it an actual tipping point where you never have to go back?
Yeah, it becomes to a point where you practice it so much, you
Hmm.
familiarize yourself to it becomes automatic. It becomes subconscious.
Okay. Okay.
It's a part of you, right? Like the whole belief no
Yeah.
longer has to play into the picture because knowledge took over. You've experienced it. Like you don't necessarily need to believe in unicorns anymore if you saw a freaking unicorn. Like they can tell you it doesn't exist. It's like, bro, I saw it with my own eyes. Like how? Like I can't deny that anymore. I don't know. I no longer believe that unicorns exist. I know unicorns exist.
Well, I'm seeing a unicorn right now, and his name is Alonto. I wish I could put one of those one of
Like the filters, right?
those filters on your head right now. Um, no, this is really powerful stuff because I think this is what you're talking about when you're talking about what's going to make you unstoppable. Because building up of that confidence, right, is really what brings you into the unstoppable mode, and it also is what. Let's come full circle. We were talking about sort of the contrast and the darkness, right? And we were talking about the ups and the downs of life. It does sound as if you have that confidence when you go into the darkness, it's easier to live in that darkness.
Yeah.
And so it's at your darkest ostensible hour, you can say, yeah, there's something fucking awesome about living with my family in this basement right now, right?
Yeah.
And then the darkest of darkest hours, like why would really bad shit happen to great people? You still know that something will carry you through. Even when you're questioning it, you know that it will carry you through. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and it's really like questions that bring the the insights, right? That bring the epiphanies that happen with people. Because if you don't ever question, you'll never be brought to awareness of like what's really going on. So the key is to, if you find yourself in certain situations, just ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this like permanent for me? Right? Or is it something that temporary, that the next level or the next step is actually something miraculous, something unicorn like when it comes to my life journey?
Okay, so let's go back and do this mastery thing one more time. I want to see how much of a master you are at this, unicorn man. All right. So let's go back. Let's go back. I want you to go pro level retort on me, all right? So
Okay.
so I genuinely can't think of a better day and time and person to have a golden mic with today. This is, I have to say, like one of the best golden mics ever, and it's like one of these hidden gems that maybe a lot of people won't see, but for me personally, it's meant a lot to connect with you, Alonto.
And the feeling, or truly, like, it makes me like well up with tears. Like you're gonna make me cry, man. Like to to have someone see that in me, that I also see like they're doing in the same way, like means a lot. Like it makes me feel like I am on purpose. I am on point with the things that I'm doing in my life, and it feels amazing,
Okay.
right? So thank you for that.
You're welcome, bro. You're welcome. Dude, go pro level on me. Go pro level. Go pro level. I just want to do a demo now to so when you're saying, like the tell me more stuff, like can you do that again?
Yeah, and I truly appreciate that. And is there anything else that you see that is in alignment with what you had mentioned when it comes to how I live my life?
Okay, so this is just for demo purposes. What do you mean? I just told you, man.
Like any other stuff, right? Because the those are, I know, like some things that I can see in myself. Is there things that I can't see?
What are you like fishing for comments or something, dude?
No, like it's truly like what I see in you. Like they're the blinders, right?
Yeah.
Like we're meant to live in community. We're meant to to live in partnerships and relationships, so that we can operate in this world not just like with what we see, but where what others see in us,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes like what I can't see in myself, some people can blatantly see it. Like it's so obvious that I'm blinded by it. And I want to see as much of that as possible.
So when we met in New York, um, there was like something that I wanted to tell you and your wife. I didn't know what it was, but I feel like it is. I feel like it is. I'm able to say it today. Like I knew that you, as a couple, I knew that talking to you. I mean, both Filipinos with dyed hair, yeah, whatever, you know. But like, there was something else that I wanted to talk to you about, and I didn't have the voice. And to be able to have that discussion and to go into depth with you, um, you make me see that I'm a better person. I'm coming from this as a better positive psychologist, as a better coach, as a better dad. Um, from all the things that we talked about while we were live and getting our asses trying to get the live to work. Like, yeah. And so I think that's okay. So this could be a total love fest. Let's cut. I mean, all
So
right,
so
total love fest.
did you see where you were going with that? So part of mastery is when the student becomes a teacher. And what you were doing in our interaction, right? Like it was focused on me or identifying kind of like what I brought to the table, but you
Mm.
started bringing up stuff within you that you saw, right? Things that were like a gift that you had of seeing those little like lights that people had in themselves.
Oh, I appreciate that. Tell me more about that.
See? There you go. Now the teacher is becoming, or the students becoming the teacher. So the and it's perfectly demonstrated in this interview, and you picked up on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so. It feels like when the energies are aligned, it's just so symbiotic and natural to do that, man. Um, and I think what's going to be awesome is as when the golden mic gets shut off today, I've got things to think about. You know, even when I was pushing and I was doing things for just demonstration purposes, like what are you trying to fish for comments, blah 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 blah. You didn't back down. You're like, nah, there's like something, there's things that I can't see in myself. Like I'd love to know more. I'm like, that was such a great way to ask for that information. Joel, I see you. Unicorn is calling him out. The unicorn. We're gonna have to change your branding. Angelina, I agree. That was very powerful. Very powerful. Ramses, keep it together, bro. Oh my god, I just cried. Ramses, keep it together. Especially before because you're coming on the show soon, Ramses. So here we go. Here we go. We're going to be talking about the master. We're going to be moving towards being unstoppable. We're talking about the art of receiving. How do we keep in touch with you, Alonto?
So right now I'm building out like my website, but
Mhm.
I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and if you want to do like on the post that you had, if you wanted to do like a 15-minute magnetic session, and I'm kind of the whole aspect with that call is just to gain clarity of like your gifts, like what you bring to the table, and uh, that will make you like magnetic in like your life when it comes to relationships and success that you want to attract. So
Well, that's super awesome for you to offer up your time because I think time is the most precious thing that you could give anybody, and to have that time to co-create. I mean, that's what we did. That's what we did. We stopped rehearsing and we just were like, you know what, let's do this shit, man. And Alonto goes, "That's how I roll." That's what he's just like right before we start, man. Um, so awesome. A couple more things. Allison is it's like practicing the art of receiving ends up causing the person complimenting you to dig deeper into their own truth and what's in their heart. Yeah, you feeling that, Alonto?
yeah,
You feeling that?
true
Um,
profit right there.
it is true profit. It is a true profit right there. Um, so Alonto, I wanted to thank you on just behalf of all of us watching. This one has been I really think this one's going to be the hidden gem for those of you who are still watching. If there's someone who you want to thank, or if there's someone who you want to hear this, please share this one out. This is one mofo of a show today. This is like those feel good shows from like the 80s where you just it's just warm and fuzzy at the end of it, and to think that you could continue to live life this way. People are very fortunate to have you around them. And so I'm very fortunate that I got to interact with you in New York, and it's great to have you back, man. So here you go. Here you go. This is why the show's called The Golden Mic, Alonto. I don't know if you've seen it, but I know you got places to go. So I want you to imagine that a golden mic is coming down from your ceiling right now. And this golden mic, for 2 minutes or less, translates into every single language all across the world. Everybody is listening. And so not Joel, I'm looking at this wrong screen. So Alonto, when I flip the golden mic, everybody is listening. So your golden mic is live now, Alonto.
So when it comes to life, I want you to truly look at it as rhythm and flow. That life is going to give you ups and downs, hardships, problems, but also opportunities. And it's what you take in those opportunities, or how you live in those problems and opportunities, that leads to what you attract in your life. And I truly believe that in art reveals to us the gift, the talent that lies within every single individual. That there's a masterpiece within every single person that needs to be brought out. There's a work of art that needs to be brought out, and that's truly gonna save the world. And people are gonna call you crazy. People are gonna cast you aside even, and you'll know that you're doing great work when that happens. Because this is the one quote that I want to end this with, is that the people who were seen dancing were called crazy by the ones that couldn't hear the music. And I want you to dance your art, or live your art. Listen to that music inside and live it out, and utilize that masterpiece and share it with the world.
I want you to take that. Oh, drop that golden mic, son. You know how to do it. Just like when you were doing when you were little, pimping out those candies. Alonto, we're going to turn up the energy. Episode 66, the golden mic. You knew it was going to end with us going crazy. The two Filipino brothers. Alonto, thank you. It means a lot, especially coming from you. I got a final question for everybody watching. For those of you who are feeling amazing and living into your full fulfillment today, what is your responsibility to the greater good? My name is Marc Cordone. This is Alonto. We're going to be back tomorrow. This is the Golden Mic 66. Peace.